starting with Angela Walker. Angela Nicole Walker is an activist, professional driver, and labor organizer. She's the vice presidential nominee of the Green Party of the United States and Socialist Party USA for the 2020 election alongside presidential nominee Howie Hawkins. She was previously the vice presidential nominee for the Socialist Party for the 2016 election, and in 2014 ran as an independent socialist for sheriff of Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. In her sheriff's race, Angela won 20% of the vote with the message that the best way to cut street crime and violence was to fight poverty and economic frustration with living wages, affordable housing, grocery stores in food deserts, and good health care and public transit. She pledged no cooperation with ICE on the detention of immigrants without court-ordered warrants. Angela describes herself as a Fred Hampton, Assata Shakur socialist, which means I think that she's my kind of socialist too. So it is my considerable honor to introduce Angela Walker, the Green Party vice presidential candidate. Good evening, Angela.
Good evening to everybody, and thank you for having me. I'm trying to get my life in order over here. Yes, it's an honor to be here with y'all, and you know, for those of us who endured the so-called debate last night, I think that, you know, you're exactly right. It really reaffirmed why we need an independent left party and independent left parties. We are not, you know, the questions I felt like, you know, were being asked of those candidates were softball questions, and the answers or non-answers that we received were just stunning, and just the lack of civility and decency. And so I think that, you know, I'm very proud to be a Green, very proud to be part of this campaign, very proud to be able to lift up issues that people are actually asking for, demanding. You know, the call for Medicare for all is absolutely deafening around the country right now. We are in a pandemic. That pandemic has no signs of abating. People, you know, want to act like it's over because they're over it, but we're not done. And we're looking at a very unpredictable flu season, you know, coupled with COVID. So we have that to look forward to, and you know, think about how we're going to be working through that. And so people are talking about Medicare for all. People are talking about defunding the police, especially, you know, in light of what happened in Louisville and, you know, countless other places, but Louisville being the most recent site of no justice given to the family of Breonna Taylor, no justice for her murder. And so, you know, that's something that's on people's minds. People are thinking about and wanting and needing access to housing for all that is safe, that is, you know, ecologically sound, and also, you know, affordable, where, you know, you don't have people who are facing housing uncertainty because of this pandemic and other things. We won't have that. And so, I mean, we are the only, and it's not us exaggerating when we say we are the only party that is talking about the things that we are talking about. We are the only party that is putting out a plan around reversing climate change. No one else is doing that. I mean, they did a little song and dance and backed it up to 2035, but their plan is not our plan. And, you know, the front runner candidate basically said, and he said it more than once, I do not support the Green New Deal. Well, it isn't yours, it's ours. That came from us. And so when we're talking about a full strength Green New Deal, we are the only party. This came from us. We're the only party talking about it. We're the only party that is talking about ending these wars around the US. Tomorrow is the anniversary where we are talking about pulling out of AFRICOM, getting the United States out of Africa as an occupying force that is contributing to the destabilization of the entire continent. And so in talking about defunding the military, bringing the personnel home, bringing the money home, reinvesting in the infrastructure in this country in a green, sustainable way that offers a job guarantee federally to everybody who needs it. We are the only party that is offering stability. We are the only party that is offering a new way for the United States to move through the world, not as a bully, not with this mindset of taking your resources because we can and we've got more guns and we're bigger than you, but as a true world citizen, willing to work in cooperation and peace with countries around the world and sharing resources, particularly at this time when so many of us are affected by climate change, by, war, by all of the things that are impacting, that we can be helpful with because we have contributed to it. And so I think that, if y'all aren't holding your heads up about being Greens, we've been taking a beating. Y'all saw what happened in Wisconsin. You saw what happened in Montana. You saw what happened in Pennsylvania. You saw what they attempted in Texas, and we beat it back. So, we got to win there. But at the end of the day, we have everything to be proud of as a party. We are the only party that is unafraid at this point to take the principled and necessary stance of putting people and planet first, because there is no other way to go forward. We can't keep kicking this can down the road when we're talking about climate change and we're talking about racial injustice and we're talking about poverty. We cannot keep on in the way that we are doing. And we are offering this country a way forward that is holistic, that is thoughtful. We have an actual plan. And I think that in this being what I've been calling the year of impossible things, I think that we will get more than 5%. I think people are ready for our message, and let's get it out there.
Thank you, Angela. We have a couple of minutes for questions. And by the way, I'm glad to see that you had the same reaction that I did to the debates last night. It was pretty disturbing.
Yeah, he was trying to give us reasons not to vote for him. He did a great job.
I think
so
he
I love everything you're saying. I love everything you're saying. I'm kind of taking a lot of the same positions in my own congressional run. I just wanted to ask you, what are you and Howie doing to get that word out? How are you?
Every social media avenue that we are able to access, we've been doing interviews and just letting our people know, like, yo, we need your help. We don't have the big media access to in the way that the duopoly does. We've got people, and we have, I think it's more powerful when someone who supports our campaign and someone who supports our party and our party platform is the one to tell folks who may not know about us, just in their circles. I mean, especially, during, we have a plague happening. So, I mean, walking up to strangers, no, but where you can have these conversations, especially now, and where you can have them where they're safe, because there's a lot of people that are very heated, at the idea of a third party running. So I don't want anyone putting themselves in harm's way, and I've been very clear about that with people. People the viciousness is only going to intensify up until November 3rd. It's just going to get worse. And so where people can get those conversations happening, tell them why you support us. Tell them what about this platform gets you excited, what makes you hopeful. And also, folks who want to volunteer with the campaign, hit us up on the website, things like that. But, what we're doing, we are using every avenue that we know how. I mean, I thought it was really cute that while we were jumping up and down trying to get CNN and C-SPAN and all these folks to talk about us, they didn't get interested in hearing anything from us until Wisconsin. you know, until we were accused of, you know, doing something. Now all of a sudden you want to talk to us. It's garbage. And so, yeah, we're just going to have to keep pushing and making sure that, you know, on the platforms that are available to us. I mean, obviously, Howie was not on that stage last night. Had he been there, the tone would have been completely different. People might have actually received something of substance last night instead of a sideshow that the whole world witnessed. But that didn't happen. And so we just need people to talk about it. You know, where it's safe for you to talk about, you know, this party, this campaign, get the word out. That's the best we can do. I'm doing it too. So,
Angela, I have two questions here in chat that are pretty much related. Well, actually, three. They're all pretty much related. So I'm going to give them to you all in one shot. So first of all, one is in how many states are you and Howie on the ballot? Related question: what's the number one way we can support the campaign at this point? And also related, are there Hawkins and Walker signs available, and how do we get them?
Okay, the third question, are the signs available? They are at our website, and I'm going to put the website in the chat, and it's under merch, HowieHawkins.us, and look up merch. So for folks who want, you know, merch, yard signs, I think there's a thing there for like if you need to distribute lid or whatever. All of that stuff is All of that stuff is available on the website. My dog wants to go out. And what's the number one way that we can support the campaign at this point in the campaign? Talk about us. Talk about it. You know, wherever you can, wherever it is safe, because, you know, Brian, I think you're on, you know, we're on Twitter together. And so, you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about people being with the vitriol. They're absolutely horrible. So don't put yourself in harm's way. If it's a volatile situation, leave it alone. But if you are able to safely talk about the campaign, why you support the campaign, why you are voting third party, period. You know, because people are going to come at you really sideways, call you privileged, out of touch, selfish. My favorite is egotistical. I've got that a lot lately. If you can have a conversation safely, do it. If you are able to volunteer with the campaign, you know, the website is up there. Y'all can do that. Just using your own platforms, you know, wherever you can, and just getting the word out, because people are, they're ready to hear from us. And so many folks are like, where is the alternative? And I'm like, we're right here. So, but I'm one person. So when I tell y'all that I need y'all, I really do. And what was the other?
And then the other one was about the number of states where we're on the ballot.
I want to say, because it is not in front of me, and at this point it should be in front of me, and of course I constantly forget to write it down, but I want to say we are on the ballot in at least 36 states, and we have write-in status in about 10 more. And there's only a couple of states, there's only a couple of states where we absolutely, it's like basically a dead zone. I mean, Oklahoma, I think, being one of them, and I think maybe there's like 2 more. But everywhere else, we are either on the ballot or we have write-in status.
Excellent. That's good to hear. So another question that has been asked. What are you doing to provide a Hawkins-Jorgensen alternative debate opportunity? And I think the question is that, well, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I got excited because I'm like, yes.
All right, very good.
Free, I want to say it's free and equal debate. They should be circulating on social media. That is going to be October 8th with Howie and Joe.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yes, it is called the Free and Equal Debate. So, yeah, if y'all are on the Green Party website, if y'all are on Facebook, y'all are on Twitter, we will be circulating that. I started it today, but I need the signal boosted. But yes, it will be October 8th that there will be a Hawkins-Jorgensen debate.
Okay. the question came up about write-in candidates. I'm going to pass on that only because I don't want to put Angela in the position of having to interpret write-in candidate laws in half a dozen states. That doesn't seem fair. So let's try something else. Let's see. From Rona, she says, a local friend wrote in response to last night's debate, a Black agenda policies are still primary for me, none of which was discussed last night. How can we best answer that question to educate people about the Green Party?
The Green Party has a Black agenda. We are talking about Black self-determination. Reparations for Black people in the United States are on the ballot, and also ending U.S. imperialism around the world, where the people who are harmed are primarily Black and brown. Those are also part of our platform. So if people go to our website, like laying it out, we wrote an open letter to Charlemagne the God, who is, one of the hosts of a very popular radio show called The Breakfast Club, who asked that question. Joe Biden went on his show, gave him a bunch of empty platitudes, and, Charlemagne the God went on to Joy Reid's show and said, he didn't answer anything about what I asked him. And what he specifically asked was about a Black agenda. And so we took it upon ourselves to answer all of the questions that he had. So that open letter is available on our website for people who want to read exactly what our campaign and our party's agenda for Black people is. But we absolutely do have one.
Okay. That's really good. I think that's good for people to take note of. Here in Connecticut, we have a lot of Black Lives Matter activism going on. And the question about the role that white activists can play in that is going to be very important. And how we do that as Green Party members is going to be very important.
I think that's actually a separate question, not to interrupt you, Peter.
No, that's right. You're the speaker. For anyone who does have a question about where white folks can be helpful, basically, the most basic rule or basic thing in the world is respect Black leadership. Whatever those organizers are calling for, if we are in the room, and I do this myself, whatever the organizers are calling for, be there and be a pair of hands, be a heart, if you can bring resources, whatever needs to happen. But respect the leadership that is already moving on the ground. We do not want people thinking we are a party of folks, and they don't. They don't. But, my rule of thumb has always been, I'm not going to come into someone else's house and tell them how to move. And so when we're getting involved, just, stand back and take your cues from, speak with whoever is organizing. What do you need from me? It's very humbling, but yeah. It's a good practice. Angela, let's see, a couple other questions here. Have you been invited to any vice presidential debates?
Sort of, but not really. Spike Cohen reached out to me when we got the nomination. And I have, I thought that was very classy of him. I also know that he does a lot of speaking shirtless. So I was a little hesitant to, I think if the opportunity comes up and, it'll probably have to be something virtual. I still work, 10 to 12 hours a day driving a truck. That has not changed. And so, yeah, I'm hoping, if it happens, then we'll figure something out. But that's the only debate that has been mentioned. Of course, the duopoly is very heavily invested in pretending we don't exist.
Unless they can use it against us in some way.
Well, I mean, I think we make it very clear that the fact that the only time that the Democrats show any courage or any gumption is when it comes to us. They roll over for the Republicans or collude with them, but when it comes to us, you're big and brave. And I think we saw that, and I think the whole country saw that.
Thank you. Let's see, question, is your campaign focused, are there any specific states that you're focusing a lot of attention on right now?
All of them. We have
Good
a
answer.
state strategy. And it's like how he says all the time, baby, this is a battleground. All of them are battleground states. We don't have sacrifice zones. They are all battleground states for us.
Question, Angela, would you support prosecution of pharmaceutical companies like Purdue Pharma that have, well, the question is that diverted pills extensively, talking about the opioid crisis?
Would we support prosecution of
the pharmaceutical companies like
that
Purdue?
that abuse, because I don't know the ins and outs of that, but that abuse people? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, just thinking of my mom, who, you know, before she transitioned, my mother had cancer, and one of her pills that was needed simply to keep her alive, the amount of it per pill staggered me. And it's just the thought, you know, the fact that people are needing life-saving medications and people are profiting off of them in very obscene ways. We have a problem with that. I have a problem with that.
You must have been astonished last night to hear from President Trump, that the cost of prescription drugs has dropped dramatically all over the country. So that it's like water. It's like paying for water. Of course, water is getting more expensive, so I'm not exactly sure where that leaves us.
He wasn't sure where that leaves us. I was, you know, at some point you have to abandon your, you know, in listening to that individual talk, you have to be willing to just like abandon your need for reason. Because I just know, no, pharmaceutical prices are going up. This is a nationwide problem. I mean, I'm an AARP member, and that's one of the biggest things that they're talking about. So yes, absolutely support prosecution of pharmaceutical companies who abuse people and are gouging and are, you know, doing backdoor deals and things like that. Absolutely.
It looks like we probably just have time for one more question. Are you seeing an uptick in support in states that are particularly affected by the climate crisis?
Here in the South, I mean, it is what it is. And we are definitely feeling it down here. You know, I'm in South Carolina, so we are definitely feeling it down here. I haven't seen it here, but in places like California, I would say the people who, you know, I think that with Oregon and California, you know, other parts out that way, with these fires, I think it has really brought home for a lot of people that the urgency behind climate change in a way that nothing else did. You know, it's very easy to ignore something that is moving, that seems to be slow moving. You know, you are not directly painfully impacted yourself. But when it finally hits you, it's like, whoa, wait, what? Why is no one talking about this? It's like, yes, we are. You ready to have that discussion? And so I think that, you know, I think, you know, what I've seen is just an uptick in the conversations where people are saying this is unconscionable. You know, the people who were supposed to be in charge, we have no leadership around this. And that, of course, brings it back to us. But I haven't seen anything like, you know, a noticeable, hey, we're going green. I think I've been hearing, you know, a lot of, I think I would say the debate last night, now there's a definite uptick. Like people are like, no, I'm done. That's what I heard.
Angela, when we first asked you to participate in this, we knew that you are still working a full-time job and some kind of pretty ridiculous hours, and we really appreciate your making time to be here with us this evening. But out of respect for that, we're gonna move on to our Connecticut congressional candidates. And again, it's great to have the opportunity to meet you, even if it's remotely. And we really appreciate your being here with us this evening.
I really appreciate you making space for me. Thank you.